Wake Up MLS, Match Day 8. Match Day 8. There's a lot of confusion out there. I see a lot of Match Day 7 stuff. Match Day 7 was last week. Match Day 8 going off the Inter-Miami schedule. Match Day 8 predictions. This is our predictions video. Got some fresh blood on the show today, of course. Got our usual suspect, Hector Flores of Insert Name FC. Welcome in, brother. And then we have Riley of First Touch Media, avid St. Louis City fan. And we're doubling down on the St. Louis love for this week. We got Henry from, is it Mecca of Banter?
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. Yes, sir. I love it, bro.
Yeah.
Look, Hector, we might be double teamed on this one today, bro. It's okay, though. It's okay. Texas versus Missouri. We'll take that battle all day.
Or as I like to say, Missouri.
Missouri. You're right.
Well,
Missouri.
some people call it the great state of misery. So I'll take what you guys had to say.
That's called Fort Leonard.
Better.
That's Fort Leonard Wood. So this is
interesting. But yeah, guys, look, it's going to be, as you can tell, it's already going to be a fun episode. A lot of discussion, a lot of debate, a lot of banter in between. But we are predicting the results for all 14 of the Match Day 8 matches. So let's go ahead and jump in. Let's not waste any more time. I'll pull up the first match on the screen and let's jump right into it. The first one on the docket for today, Cincinnati taking on the Red Bulls. It's the first kind of match of the early wave, if you will, on Saturday. To refresh everybody, right? Cincinnati drew to Charlotte on the road 1-1. The Red Bulls drew to Orlando, also 1-1 on the road. These top four teams separated by 1 point in the East. Really interesting piece to note. Forsberg is out for this one, right? So kind of the guy who's been linking things up in the midfield for them. This is the first game since that playoff penalty kick shootout ending to the 2023 playoffs for the Red Bulls. The one that ended, from my perspective, spectacular fashion, the way they went out missing those penalty kicks. But anyway, moving on. How do we feel about this one? This one's, I think, really interesting considering where the Red Bulls are right now, but no Forsberg. I don't know how much that impacts them. Hector, bro, let's start with you. I mean, how do you feel about this one?
I mean, you got to feel confident when you have Morgan still in the mix of all that. I think that's an important piece, but Forsberg is going to be a huge loss. And you're talking about going into TQL. So that's going to be also a big factor. Cincinnati, I was expecting some sort of drop off, not saying like a massive drop off from Cincinnati, but obviously when you lose Brandon Vasquez, I would have thought of something with significance, but you still have a lot of quality on that roster.
Upenza
as well. So, I mean, it's also very important. I think it's kind of like with Cincinnati, it's just they built this team right. They built the team right where if you can afford to lose a piece like Brandon Vasquez and you still can ride the course. And once again, TQL is that's a fortress over there. So I'm rocking with FC Cincinnati. I think Forsberg in this kind of game, you need your big piece, and that's Forsberg. And I think that's going to be a tremendous loss in this game.
Yeah, it'll be huge. I mean, Riley, I don't know if you have anything different, bro. This one I know Forsberg is going to be a missing piece, but do we not feel like this is like a different version of the Red Bulls?
Yeah, they do. I feel like they have definitely improved their squad from last year. It does really stink for them that they're going to TQL, playing in Cincinnati's no easy feat, and taking on the reigning MLS MVP and Luciano Acosta. I mean, I really can't see it in any sort of way of Red Bulls walking away with a result here. I'm probably putting it like 3-0 for Cincinnati. I think they're gonna. I'm expecting a cooking of the Red Bulls.
He just shit on the Red Bull fan. Henry, how do you see this one going, bro?
Man, I think the only thing that gives the Red Bulls at least some bit of contention is they came off that game against Miami where they just absolutely beat the shit out of Miami. And granted, it was Miami without Messi, but it was a Red Bulls team that didn't show Miami any bit of respect, which I love. I think a lot of times this season we've seen a lot of people just like roll over for Miami, but Red Bulls didn't do it. And I think if Red Bulls can go into Cincinnati and kind of apply the same tactical game to it, it may not be a 3-0. I'm not saying that they're going to win, but they might come out with a draw. They might come out with a really frustrating performance against Cincinnati. And you have to remember, Cincinnati does have a blunder in them. Last year, I mean, it was against St. Louis that they did it. They lost, 5-1, 5-0 against us. But they do have it every once in a while, and they haven't lost yet this season, Cincinnati. And maybe this is a game where they drop points.
Yeah, it's really weird. Cincinnati, man, top of the East, but their goal differential is still even below Inter Miami's, right? Was right underneath them, right? It's like a different weird version of Cincy where they're still finding a way to get over the line, but it's not as impressive as it was last season. Maybe they're just starting slow. Who knows? I don't know if this Red Bulls game is going to be their coming out party like Riley thinks it's going to be, but I don't know, man. I don't know why I'm feeling draw. I just can't shake it.
I think you hit it spot on. Like, it's such a well-built team. Like, they're a wagon. Yeah. Like, a couple of years into the league, they constructed their roster so well that they have veterans. They have guys that have been there and done that, and they can even play not even close to their 100% and come away with a result. So True. I don't know. I think that, being an undefeated team in this league still at this point is a rarity, and a draw might be the result here.
Yeah. I think we're kind of split on this one, boys. And sometimes I force the guys to kind of pick one way or the other. Unless Riley or Hector's feeling like moving sides here, I feel like Riley was bullish.
I'm leaning more towards a 1-0 victory for Cincinnati.
Like maybe not 3, but
not 3-0. I do think it's still going to be a competitive matchup. Also, I mean, Red Bulls they won the sportsmanship award by providing those jackets to those kids.
That counts. That counts from the 100%. Yeah.
I'm definitely game to backtrack a little bit. I did just see
No,
that
no.
Cincinnati,
No, die on that
Cincinnati
hill.
only averaging 1 goal per game this season. Yeah, 3-0 might be a little bit outlandish.
I made a big bet on Bupenza
But
this
I'll
season.
go with the draw. I'll go with the draw though.
But to back Riley's point, I made a big bet on Bupenza this season. And like, granted, he started a little bit slow too. The whole team has, but he got on the score sheet last week. And who knows, man? I mean, he kind of had some disciplinary issues at the beginning of the season, which is why he didn't get those starts in the first couple games. I mean, bro, if they do win 3-0 or whatever, a similar scoreline, 2 or 3 goals, you might be onto something. You might be cooking there. I don't know. We'll see. I think it's going to be tight. I really can't shake a draw collectively. Is that where we're at?
Yeah,
I'll go for draw.
All right. Columbus taking on DC at Columbus. Columbus drew 2-2 to Nashville on the road, which was an interesting game. DC defeated Montreal 1-0 at home, right? So DC, keep in mind, missing 3 to 4 players for this matchup through injury. Columbus is, I don't even know if they're going to be missing Cucho on Saturday. We'll find out what Will Fernandes feeling, if he wants to keep disciplining his boy or he's going to, find a reason to put him back into the lineup. Does anybody know if he started, if the game actually went on tonight?
Last I checked was about an hour ago. It still hadn't been started yet, so it might just be like tornado season over there.
Yeah, there's crazy weather stuff going on in Ohio, so I don't really know what's going on over there. But with all of that said, Columbus missing for sure, whether Cucho plays or not, Camacho and Matan, and with the crazy stat, with this game, I think is really, really interesting. DC coming into this match with the second highest XG in the league. They are producing opportunities right now in a way that we haven't seen from DC in I don't know how many seasons. Last 3 or 4 at minimum. So you look at this version of DC against the Columbus team that, is still, the reigning champions, top 3 in the East, a difficult Eastern Conference, right? But they don't yet feel like 2023 Columbus Crew. Not yet. They're kind of still, for me, a little susceptible, right, to some kind of attacking threat. With DC and the chances they're creating, do they have a shot to pull off an upset on the road here?
100%. DC it should really, like, in brackets, be like my least favorite team in the league. I mean, the most annoying game I've ever watched in my entire life was 2 weeks ago when they came to St. Louis and they wasted 45 minutes of game time.
That was a good game.
Whatever. Sure. I mean, you say what you want to say. It was my least favorite game I've ever watched in my life, but DC has the opportunity. I mean, Benteke obviously has all the plaudits from playing, in the Prem, and so does Mateus Click. But like at least for me, when I watched them in person, I didn't realize like how much of a force Benteke actually was.
Yeah.
And it just seems like, the coaches from the Red Bull system as well, they're that counter-attacking high press system. They're just they're creating turnovers in every aspect of the pitch. They definitely have what it takes to force it out of Columbus. And especially if Columbus doesn't get that game in tonight, maybe they play it tomorrow and they're coming off of only 2 days rest. But I think DC can do it.
Yeah, this is going to be a really interesting one. I mean, Hector, bro, you look at this game. I mean, let's say Cucho doesn't play for whatever reason. They extend the disciplinary, treatment into the weekend. Is this done for Columbus without Cucho?
Columbus is such a weird team, man, because they do have that next man up mentality. You do have Christian Ramirez that's available. I don't know about him as in a full 90 minutes scenario for him. Obviously, he's pretty clutch coming in off the bench.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that translates. But I think this team is just, despite like this is not the same Columbus that we saw last year, where everyone was like, "There's no way this team doesn't win the MLS Cup." I think that Columbus is still proven to be a very sturdy squad. And even despite that, even with being in the Triple C, like it doesn't hinder them for being in that tournament because they've been able to have positive results in the MLS, and then as well, obviously they're where they are in the Triple C. And I mean, that's also props to Will Fernandes on how he rotates the squad. But I mean, if there's a time for DC United to just jump on this opportunity, especially with who's Columbus playing right now for Triple C? Is it Tigres?
Tigres, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Especially when they're going up against Tigres.
Facts.
Like this is like the best shot ever that DC United can have, especially with the firepower that they have up front to take advantage of I would say a very much wounded Columbus Crew team, especially if you end up playing Tigres, depending whether they play it today or the next day, because Tigres is going to be a fight for Columbus Crew. So I think that's going to be, if anything, this is DC United's opportunity to take advantage.
Yeah. This one's, I don't know, man. I'm gonna be ballsy here. I already taken more than a few L's in the show, right? We're only 8 weeks into the season, but I think it's gonna be DC. I'm not gonna say it's a high scoring affair, but like a 2-1, right? Something where they maybe edge it out. It could be a penalty. It could be a really scrappy Benteke goal. Like they could have just high pressured well enough and just turn the ball over way up the pitch and create an opportunity from that. I don't really know, but I kind of agree with Hector just said. I think that depending on when they play this game, tonight, tomorrow, whenever. Or just the mental hoops they're jumping through. Will they have Cucho? Will they not have him? He's been so much of their offense already this season. I feel like DC, I don't know, just maybe licking their chops a little bit. I think this is going to be DC United. How do you guys feel?
I might have to agree with you. It looks like this game is actually going on right now. They're at halftime right now, and it looks
Oh.
like Columbus's lineup is. I mean, it's got all the stars, right? Rossi, Nagbe, Aiden Morris, like everyone's playing right now, and those midweek matchups are never easy in the MLS from what we've seen. So, I personally didn't feel like DC were all that strong against St. Louis when we played. I thought Jared Stroud, classic luck maxed his way out of 2 assists in that one. With the midweek matchup, I could definitely see DC pulling something out. I'm inclined to agree with you there, Jose.
Awesome. Hector, Henry, how are you feeling?
Yeah, DC.
DC? Hell yeah. I'll take it, bro. All day, every day. All right.
Not even
DC.
a hot take for you, Jose. Not even a hot take.
Let's move on. El Tráfico, LAFC hosting the LA Galaxy. This is going to be an interesting one in comparison to last season or even the season before in 2022. I think this has different vibes. Galaxy, obviously, in a really weird way, piecing together a team in, I would say, non-Galaxy fashion, right? Not a ton of superstars, just players that seem to fit the bill all the way through. But you look back again, like last weekend, LAFC coming off of just this weird run of form, losing to Colorado on the road 3-2. The Galaxy defeating Seattle 1-0 at home. These two teams have not drawn any of the last 8 matches against one another. So they're going to be fireworks. What's crazy about that is that, you think about the last 3 El Tráficos, right? The Galaxy have taken them when they haven't been in form. What happens now when they're creating chances left, right, and center, where they can seemingly turn it on at the drop of a hat? This is a different version of the Galaxy. I feel like they're going to get chances against this LAFC team. Should we just call Galaxy and call it a day?
Yes.
I'm calling Galaxy and the over.
There you go.
Goals.
Yeah.
There's going to be goals.
Crazy amount of goals, I think.
Yeah, I've been incredibly impressed with LA Galaxy this season. I feel like watching them last year in our first year in MLS, I was very surprised to see such a historic club in the MLS play so poorly week after week. And watching the game in LA versus St. Louis, like the signings that they've made over the last year, I feel like have really impressed. It's a whole new squad for them, and I'm excited to see them kind of take the LA crown back from Chivas USA. I'm excited for it.
Hell yeah, I like those vibes. So Chivas USA vibes are strong, especially with this version of LAFC. It just feels weird, man. I don't know if they need some more time to get going. I don't know if they're like already, hailing Giroud in and just waiting for him to get here to save them. I have no idea what's going on, but I mean, it's hard for me to bet on them. It just is. They're like up, they're down. I thought they came back in epic fashion in that Nashville game, showing us what we thought they were, right? That 5-0. But then they come back against the Rapids and they look very lackluster. And kind of, in all honesty, it should have been a 3-1. I thought the 3-2 to me was actually even a little bit gracious. Hector, how do you feel about this one, bro? Any backing for LAFC at all?
No.
Nope.
No, it's man, dude. It's the little brother syndrome, man. It for some reason. I mean, and this might piss off the LAFC fans, but let's be honest, LA Galaxy, that's Big Brother. Even though they're playing Carson. But that's Big Brother. Like, they've owned LA for so long, and even though LAFC, they're the shiny new toy for LA. You got all this, Will Ferrell and Magic Johnson and Mia Hamm. The list goes on and on. Whoever the hell owns that team. But at the end of the day, is the Galaxy just somehow finds ways to win those matches, win El Tráfico.
Yeah.
Even when they're terrible.
That's what's crazy.
I mean, the roster from last year, that was just laughable, and they still found a way to beat LAFC. And so, man, and now they're good. Now the Galaxy are good. Everything's clicking. Their big signings that they made this offseason weren't even really that big. Like, not LA Galaxy big.
Yeah,
but
not Chicharito, not Zlatan. Yeah.
They are working, and it pisses me off because I hate the Galaxy. And so
you hate Landon Donovan, bro. You don't hate the Galaxy. You hate Donovan. Everyone hates Landon.
You're right. You're right.
Let's move on to Barca, or AKA Inter Miami, versus the Colorado Rapids. Miami at home, which has really not been much of a threat this season, if we're being honest, in comparison to the expectation. But Miami coming off that draw against New York City FC at home, which is weird. Just a weird thing. And of course, you have Colorado. We talked about it already, right? Winning 3-2. Miami missing, dude. This feels like FC Dallas vibes a little bit. 8 players, injury, including Messi and Redondo, that new signing that they brought in. Colorado having some injuries, but no major ones really. They're going to kind of have the same team they had last week, and so even with Miami carrying the highest XG in MLS so far up to this point in the season, they're not top of the East. They're below Cincinnati. They had these up and down games. I feel like when the match actually matters to them and they care, they ball out, and when they don't. Like, they just don't really, they'll wait. They'll be patient. They'll pick their moments to shine on the field, right? And we've seen that. People say no Messi, no party. That's been said multiple times on the show. I wholeheartedly disagree. I think that team should be good enough to get it done without him. And that should be the case against the Rapids this week, right? This should be a dub for Miami, no?
Should be. And I think that Miami has some stuff to prove. I think coming off of a couple games where they haven't shown their best, especially as you mentioned, the last game against New York, they got to put on for the home crowd. Like they just have to do it. I think the egos are too big in that team to drop points in back-to-back games like that. And even without Messi, I think Suarez is going to continue his goal scoring form. And you'll see some of the other guys put in a shift as well. So I think Miami's comfortable here. And I also think that Colorado, like while they do have a couple of points from this season, I do not think Colorado is a good team. That might be like famous last words, and like that might come back to bite me in the ass later in the season. But like, there's a reason why Zach Steffen is not still at City. Like he got dropped in a big way. He is so blunder prone. It's ridiculous. I will say though, watching Jordi Mihailovic, or however you say his name, on the Rapids, I'm so stoked because Miami leaves so much space, especially on the counterattack, and Jordi's going to ball. So I think that's my like key player to watch for Colorado, but I just think that Miami's going to have too much firepower and a point to prove, and that's never a good thing for the other team.
Yeah, facts. You think it's gonna be a goal fest or no?
What's crazy is that like I could see it being like 3 goals in the first half for Miami. Typically when they score in bunches right away, and then they control the game from then on out. So like I think that they're going to score 3, Miami. I don't know if Colorado is going to score any, but I think Miami's going to score 3.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Riley, how do you see this one going?
I mean, while they only tied 1-1 with NYCFC last week, they really were still dominant in that game. Matt Freese ended up being the man of the match for the entire game, which speaks a lot in a 1-1 draw. The chances were coming for Miami, and Zach Steffen, he is not who the USMNT thought he was going to be, and it could definitely be a goal fest in this one. I'm definitely taking Miami though.
Yeah, it's hard not to bet against them, right? And speaking of Zach Steffen, by the way, I remember crystal clearly the shouts for, is he already goalkeeper of the year coming into this league? I'm like, bro, the disrespect. Anyway, I think collectively, I kind of agree with Henry. I don't know if we can already say that this Rapids team's got it figured out. They're putting some results together. That's great, but I'm hard pressed to just take Miami in this one for the sake of, I don't think the Rapids can keep up with them if they're on their A game offensively.
And I think that also the Rapids are playing against 12 men, so I think that that's hard too. You got the 11 men of Miami and the ref, so like I think that they have to overcome that. That's and fair. Miami's going to get a fuck ton of calls like right away being
Seriously,
at home.
bro.
So yeah, it's gonna be tough.
It was part of the new CBA for the pro referees.
That's how they did it. That's how they did it. 100%, bro.
Yeah,
I think we're all in on Miami this one, unless Hector's rocking Rapids for whatever reason. Do you think there's any potential for them in this one, or are we just straight Miami all the way through?
I think pointing Mihailovic is always going to be the it factor for Colorado, but aside from that, it's just, do I think Zach Steffen could perform in front of the potential strike force that he's going to have to face in Inter Miami? And I mean, I know some people are shitting on Tata. I have no idea where the slander is coming from because it's there. People are taking shots at Tata Martino, but I just think they're either just a really pissed off El Tri fan or
probably 100%.
Or I don't even know if any Barcelona fans really hate the guy. I'm really shocked.
No. As a Barca fan myself, I mean, he wasn't there long enough for me to hate him.
I don't get the hate for Tata Martino. Like I've seen people making like shots at this guy. I'm like, this dude knows how to play understands the MLS because obviously he was with Atlanta United, and he came back and got the keys to a Ferrari, which obviously is the 2015 Barcelona team. But I mean, the guy understands the league at the end of the day, and obviously you come off of 2 embarrassing results for your team. You're not going to let a third happen. And I think that's going to be the mentality for Miami going into preparation for this week is we're not going to get embarrassed a third time. And, unfortunately, the team that has to deal with that is going to be Colorado. So I don't think it's going to be a pretty sight for Colorado. Zach Steffen's going to have to be on his A game. Not only that, but that back line needs to be on their A game if they're hoping to get any sort of result for themselves.
We'll see how it all goes. We have Miami taking that one. All right, let's move on to the Revolution, aka I don't know the worst team in MLS, but they're definitely contending for it with 1 point at this point. Taking on Charlotte at home. So New England coming off of that draw, first point of the season against Chicago Fire at home, 1-1, and then we have Charlotte who drew against Cincinnati 1-1. Both sides have a few injuries to note, nothing really key there. The Revolution, interestingly enough, have won this matchup the last 3 times. Right? Very different version of Charlotte FC. I will confidently say that. I don't think Dean Smith has revolutionized that team by any means, but I think he's given them something, a little bit extra, a little bit more oomph, right? At least defensively, being not leaking quite so many goals. And when you think about, Charlotte being the away team here, even against a bad New England Revolution team, and that's putting it lightly, they are very bad. They have yet to win a road game in the last 5. So this is not strong snooze fest potential. I kind of smell it.
I'm calling it. I'm calling it a snooze fest.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough. Like
MLS 360 isn't showing any highlights.
Nah, none of this. None of this game.
Well, it's especially bad for New England because they're playing Club America right now, midweek in the CCL. So, yeah, I really can't see it being too much of a goal fest or anything like that. So, yeah, they're being taxed hard, and hopefully they. I don't know if you guys have seen their new pregame ritual where they throw the boxes of tea.
God,
Hey, man, that excites me. I get
no,
excited.
it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
It is
That's the lamest shit
electric.
I've ever seen, bro.
It is electric, guys.
Yeah, that styrofoam crate with the opponent's badge on it. Yeah, just chuck it off the
I
stadium.
live for it. I wish MLS did a better job at showing the pregame rituals.
Except for that one. I'm down for everything.
I mean,
100%.
We used the Dynamo literally flip a switch. That's literally their we flipped the switch, guys.
I mean,
It's
Dallas pushes a button and the flames come up. That's literally it, bro. Like, there's nothing else to it. But at least the flames look significantly more hype than throwing a tea crate off of a bleacher. You know what I mean? I don't know, bro.
You know,
weird.
when
how is that going to hype up the crowd?
When those turf pellets fly up in the air, man, it's just electricity, man.
Hell yeah, 100%, bro. Yeah, I don't know, man. This could be a 0-0 for all I care. Like, and that's what I'm saying. For all I care, because I just don't really care about this game. I don't know what's going to happen. Dean Smith could pull off the upset, and that's cool. I don't know how much it'll mean against the Revolution, but I don't know. I'm going to say a 0-0 draw. I don't know who wins this game.
Yeah,
2-0 Charlotte FC.
Whoa,
Jeez,
hey,
that's a
now.
hot take. That's the first
Hey,
spicy
now.
take I think so far.
To quote the great Petey Pablo, North Carolina, take your shirt off and swing it like a hair.
It's coming from a man with deep Charlotte, North Carolina ties. I also don't care about this game at all. This is the game. I only have one other game that's like up there for snoozer contention, but this will be a game that no matter what happens, I will look at the result on my phone and go, and then move on with my day. It will be nothing to me. You could say any scoreline, and I'd agree with you. So whatever.
Riley?
Yeah, snoozer matchup in the Eastern Conference that I sometimes pay attention to. Yeah, it's got to be. I'm down for a draw. I'll take a draw on this one.
Yeah, I kind of agree with all the way around with you guys, but with Henry, what you said, that any result could happen, and I'd be like, yeah, that's.
It won't matter to me in the slightest bit. I will take nothing away from it. I will not watch the highlights. I won't care.
With that said, Carl's heel and crew, if you guys do not get 3 points against this Charlotte team, all right, like, at home, bro, it's not happening at all this season. Like I don't know what's got to happen. The Fire was one story; they're actually a decent team, but against Charlotte, you have to have some pride and just get up for this one. I'm saying that so that hopefully this is not Snooze Fest of the week. But if it is, we were 100% right, so it doesn't matter anyway. All right,
just watch the teapot. Just watch that. Watch that tea crate.
God, no one's watching that tea crate, bro.
No one's watching it.
And that might be the only MLS 360 highlight. They might show that, and that's probably the only part of the game that we actually see. But we'll find out.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to NYCFC hosting Atlanta United. NYCFC coming off that draw to Miami on the road. Atlanta smacking Chicago Fire at the Mercedes-Benz 3-0. Giakoumakis Fest. Guys quickly climbing up that golden boot chart. Still, I think, behind Morgan for the Red Bulls. Or they're tied, maybe? I can't remember how many Giakoumakis actually has. I know Morgan has 6. But either way, NYC is going to be missing Morales, Magno, a couple others. ATL's missing that new signing Gregerson in the back. So that's going to be really interesting. I think that's the key point there because they haven't been the best defensively without him. NYC haven't kept a clean sheet in 7 matches in a row now. I thought Dallas was bad and letting people, in terms of scoring. 7 in a row is wild. Atlanta are ranked 7th in goals scored per match, despite not scoring the last 2 away matches. So interesting here. I feel like with how potent up front Atlanta really is, I know NYC just held Miami to a draw. Everybody take that with a grain of salt. That kind of is what it is. But they're at their infamous baseball stadium.
Actually, they're not in the infamous baseball stadium. They're
they're
actually now at the other infamous baseball stadium, City Field. So now they'll be in Queens, New York, because I'm guessing the Yankees are going to have a home series over there.
Yeah, so. LaGuardia. Yeah, bro. I think it's going to be really interesting to either way. Baseball stadium vibes, interesting place to play. It has thrown off more than a few teams outside maybe the Portland Timbers, in which case they won in the last 10 minutes anyway. But it's caused some problems. So does NYC have a shot to take down Giakoumakis and Atlanta United? Not at all, Henry. You're shaking your head no aggressively.
No, dude. NYCFC is so bad. I know that you were just talking about New England, but like New York City FC. First off, I want to shout out. There's this podcast called the NYCFC Forever Podcast.
Yeah.
They're hilarious. They're insane. I started listening to them like probably 2 weeks before we played them in St. Louis, and I haven't stopped listening to them all season. Like they're just so funny. But I mean, like taking it from their mouths, they're guys that have been with the club, since it started. It's just really bad right now. They don't have anyone linking things together in the back, and then they don't have anyone who's any bit consistent going forward. And like, even if Atlanta is leaky in the back, they at least have that star power going forward where, a number of those guys individually can make something happen. New York City just doesn't have anything collectively. So like, I just don't see NYCFC doing anything positive here. If they squeak out a tie, cool. But I think that Atlanta is going to be just too fiery for them.
Yeah, I think the only player you could probably hang your hat on at this point without guys like Maxi Morales and Dallas Magno would be Santi, right? Like Rodriguez. Like that's probably the only guy that could be like, okay, he can make something, but he's not even a forward, right? He can't even, he's not the guy reliant upon for goals. So he's a playmaker. And like you just said, if there's no one there to complete the end of the play, how are you going to keep up with one of the most potent offenses in the league right now? So
Yeah.
Atlanta's not good on the road. I will say, even last season, abysmal on the road. But you got to feel like against this version of NYCFC, it's got to be Yakamaki. Even if it's like a 1-0, right? I still feel like it's Atlanta. I think we have to all go that way, unless someone is feeling very bullish today on NYC.
No, I just have never seen homelessness benefit anybody more than homelessness benefits NYCFC.
Oh
I can't believe that a City Football Group owned team doesn't have a home. It is ridiculous.
It's crazy. But the one they're building out looks fire.
It does. But they've been homeless. They've been homeless for so long.
Hey, bro, they said Yankee Stadium's pretty fire though. I mean, I don't know. Who knows? I mean, it's definitely a home field advantage though. You can't say that. Like it's difficult to go there and play. Yeah, man. City Group is gonna be the one team they have where it's like, let's just let them do them. Let's let them rock. We're not going to invest in them right now. They're not going anywhere. It's MLS anyway. It's fine.
Yeah, bottom of the barrel anyways.
No fear of relegation or anything. It's totally okay. Hector, talk to me, bro. Atlanta United all the way through. Yakimaki's masterclass.
Since Stalion's not here, I guess I'll do some glazing for Yakimakis.
If you weren't going to do it, I was going to do it.
Jesus.
I mean, dude, man, the guy's just different. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about this guy, specifically on the butts. But I'm just saying what Xiaoyan sent me.
Absolutely, bro. We got to pretend he's here, right? He would 100% glaze this man. So yeah, keep going. You're good.
So I mean, the dude just knows how to find the goal. I think he will find the goal in this match. I don't think it's going to be a blowout in any way because this game's going to be fucking ugly.
Yeah.
I would imagine a makeshift baseball, now soccer field. So I'm sure that's going to be a very uncomfortable field situation, especially once you're in that patch of grass that was once the infield. So it's probably going to suck. Someone might get hurt. But I still find Yakimakis. I feel like there's going to be a way he's going to find the goal. You still have Thiago Almada. So, I mean, I think that there's plenty of opportunities that they're going to have the best chance at scoring a goal. Hey, new stadium for both teams. This is a new situation for both of them. This is
neutral territory, technically.
Yeah.
Interesting. We'll see what happens. I got a feeling it's not going to impact the score or the eventual winner in any way, shape, or form. All right, moving on to the battle for the Great White North. Vancouver taking on Toronto. Vancouver coming off that Portland win, 3-2 at home. That was really interesting. I think a lot of us
This is my game of the week, by the way.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting. I think it's game of the week is an interesting shout. I have another one, but we'll talk about it. Toronto losing to SKC at home. 3-1, which is interesting. Not that I didn't see SKC making that a game. It's just, again, we talked about MLS. We're strongly favoring home teams. That was a crazy game. Both sit at 10 points in their respective conferences. Vancouver's got a couple of players missing. Toronto's missing quite a few. And that's why I think this one, it's teetering on game of the week potential for me because they're missing Sean Johnson, Richie Larea, Insigne, Petretta, Gomez, and Cervantes has been out for I don't know how long now. He'll be out to the summer. Vancouver has won 3 of the last 4 of these meetings. The other match was a draw. So Toronto has some ground to make up if there is some kind of Canadian rivalry here. Traveling from one end of the country to the other, right? I feel like this should really favor Vancouver in a lot of ways. I feel like they're one of the most efficient teams in MLS. I feel like every week somebody comes onto this show and massively disrespects the Vancouver Whitecaps because we just don't know enough about them or haven't watched them enough, which is totally okay. I'm not nitpicking here, but I think we finally have to give them their flowers a little bit. Like where are they right now on the table? They are
second.
Yeah, man.
Well, I was trying to, but Xiaoyan kept fucking shitting on them. So,
bro, so that's not even just him. John shit on him a little bit too. There's been more than a few creators who come on the show and just haven't.
I've tried to give like my tip of the cap to this Vancouver team, and then John's like, no, fuck that team. That team sucks.
Bro, even against Dallas, right? Dallas controlled the majority of the game, right? But in a 20-minute window, they again just threw it. That's how efficient they are. Putting in crosses, find a way to finish them. Like I don't know. I think Vancouver could just do that. They can just turn it on through Brian Gauld or anybody else. So at home. They took on that rampant, Portland team who's been, proven under Neville to be able to score goals. They can't stop them to save their lives, but they can definitely score. They outscored them. I feel like Toronto without Insigne, this is probably the Whitecaps, no?
I'm going to go Vancouver. And it's funny that you talked about how like people disrespect this team because when I was like looking through all of these games, I was like, fuck, this is the one game I know nothing about either one of these teams. And they're both performing incredibly well. Like obviously you just went through their position in the table, but for the sake of like Toronto not having Insigne, like, yeah, we'll go Vancouver, home field advantage. And I think Vancouver's a cool city. So
hell yeah,
whatever.
It is a cool city.
It counts for the sentiment, I guess.
Hey, bro, I'll take it. I'll take it all.
Bet with the heart. That's what they always say. Bet with the heart, not with the mind.
And their kid is fire. Their kid is absolutely fire. That Navy one with the gold Canadian soccer ball, that's absolutely fire. Yeah, I think we just had to give them. We had a comment in the last video saying that you guys should really start watching the Caps more because they're actually like turning some heads a little bit. They were a playoff team last season, right? The 6th seed. They bowed out to LAFC in that crazy game. And with how that tie ended, Sartini going out in epic fashion. But with all of that said, right? Like I feel like they have a game plan. Like even if they're not the team controlling these games, they know how they can win and they can turn it on if they need to. So I feel like I'm without Insigne, I'm really inclined to go Vancouver. I'm with Henry on this one. How do you guys feel?
Yeah, no Insigne, just as he's like getting back to form, finally having a breakthrough for Toronto, and then to be sidelined, it's just like, what do you even do? Like Bernardeschi is just, he's not him. Bernardeschi, at least
he was him at Juve though. He was him at Juve.
Yeah, but like since coming to Toronto, it's just been nothing. At least Insigne has been able to turn it on at the start of this season. Bernardeschi, he's got nothing going. So yeah, I'll take the Whitecaps in this one.
Hell yeah, Hector.
Yeah, I'm liking the Whitecaps.
Yeah.
If Insigne was here, I would definitely have said fully that this is my game of the week. But now that you mentioned that, I still like it. I think it's a rivalry game. It's still gonna be fun to watch. But I'm giving it to Vancouver.
Yeah, I think we have to. All right, moving on. Austin taking on San Jose, a team that both teams that we should all know pretty well, being in the West. Austin coming off of that first win of the season against FC Dallas 2-1. San Jose losing again 2-1 on the road to the Houston Dynamo. Austin are going to be missing potentially at least Väisänen, but another defender who came back to training this week, Kolmanich, could be back. I don't really know. I think he's 50-50. San Jose still missing Judd and Ewell through red cards, so they both got suspended. And then Daniel and a few others that are going to be just injury scratches. So interesting, a roster lineups for those two teams. But Austin have, in really interesting fashion, man, become a team that, while they're not like great by any means, not get me wrong, they leak opportunities left, right, and center. They have this unique ability right now to stay in games, right? Henry, Riley, you guys know this as a St. Louis fan. They came back against Dallas to win that game. I know that, personally last week as an FC Dallas fan. They've scored 6 goals in their last 5 matches. They're finding ways to stay in games, even if they're not outright winning them. And San Jose, what's crazy about this tie in general is that San Jose have never lost to Austin FC. Never done it. Last 4 matches all ended in a draw. This is going to be really interesting. I think, at the Q2, I'm sure Austin FC fans are already counting this as a dub because of the form that San Jose is in, and they're coming off of a derby victory for them. Good for them. It's awesome. Keep in mind they also won this derby 3-0 last season and amounted to nothing for their season. But with all this said, I mean, is Austin FC the favorite at the Q2?
Definitely. I don't think there's any questions about it. I think this matchup is going to be Verde. Everyone on Twitter always says, please hug a San Jose fan, because man, their club is just sad right now.
It's tough.
And the way that and I hate to do it to you, Jose, but the way they whipped around Dallas was just like, I thought it was a big step up from what we've seen from them this season. I thought they were far more consistent throughout the game, and I have a feeling they're going to keep the momentum going up against San Jose this week. Yeah,
it'll be interesting. And keep in mind too, right? I mean, like Dallas is down bad right now, but I mean, like we literally have nobody. It's a team of backups at the moment. And it is what it is. Like we knew that going into the season. I'm trying to play the SKC card from last season. We'll see how it looks after 10 games and then judge it then. But either way, I agree with you. I think Verde should take this. They should. With that said, if they don't, what happens? Does the Austin FC fan base just fall into shambles? Like after you win the way you did against Dallas in a dominant fashion, especially in the second half, you turn around and you lose to one of the worst teams in MLS. What does that do to your psyche as a fan?
They are going to be bringing the Wolf Out banner back.
Ooh, I think they're going to have that. Honestly, that'll be there regardless. The guy has 2 wins in like 100 days or something. Like, I don't know. Like, that's there probably till the end of the season.
Probably the same thing that happened when they lost to Mazatlan.
God, bro. Or to Violete, or to whoever it was that they lost.
Is Wolf Out still a thing? Is Wolf Out still a thing? I don't know.
I think so, bro.
Are they back
100% it is.
Are they back on Wolf?
I think some fans are. I think there were always some empathizers in that corner. Like there were still fans who still felt like Wolf maybe I don't know how needed a little bit more time or needed better talent on the field or whatever. But I've always been a firm believer that Austin will reach their potential when they get rid of Josh Wolf. I think he's a poor man's version of Berhalter ball. I think the same thing's true of FC Dallas. Both of those guys, Josh Wolf and Nico Estevez, coached under Berhalter, right, as assistants. And I think they play very similar styles of soccer and both equally atrocious. So, like, I don't know. They should win this game, but if they don't, I'll be in that We Are Austin TV spaces on Saturday night, 100%. It's gonna be
that'll be a great listen.
Hell yeah, 100%.
On a different podcast, I'd love to hear you have a tactical breakdown of what Berhalter ball is, because after 4 years, I still don't know. I'd love to hear your thoughts.
That's the beauty of it. Nobody knows.
Yeah, brother, it's insane. It's insane.
Draw your opponent out and wait for them to make a mistake. That's the thing I see on Twitter all the time.
I suppose.
Pass to the goalkeeper.
This game is way up there for snoozer of the week for me. I mean, and not just because you have 2 teams who are just towards the bottom, or if not at the bottom of their conference, but just in the games that I've watched of them this season. A really good buddy of mine lives down in Austin. He goes to the games. There is nothing positive coming out of that camp right now. Even after the game against Dallas, it's like the Texas rivalry. You want to put up a performance. He left that game and was like, I mean, it was kind of shit, but somehow we got 3 points. So I don't know. I don't see a whole lot of excitement coming from this game. But like, I do love to see the green lights go off whenever they score a goal. I think that's one of the coolest things of all of the MLS teams. I think the whole stadium lighting up like that. So why not? Let's throw a couple goals in the game.
I hope so, man. I hope this is news of the week after we talked about before. I'll be disappointed. I'll be very disappointed. And look, I'm just a Dallas fan. I guess there's some kind of rivalry with Austin FC. I feel like Austin FC fans care more about it than Dallas fans do, but that's fine. That's not a shot at Dallas fans. I think we're adamant as a fan base. I just think Houston Dynamo is our Texas Derby, and I don't Copa Tejas maybe for Austin FC, but either way,
that's all 3 of the Texas teams that are Copa Tejas. But
but they for some reason it's so important to them. Like I'm telling you, man, the amount of Copa Tejas, like it was a Copa Tejas tifo at the game, right? That was what popped up before the game started. And even last season when they finished, what was it, 12th, 13th, whatever, they were still bragging about the fact they won that imaginary trophy. So like, I don't know, bro. It's a
fan trophy. That
I get it. But what's crazy though is to hear like, again, man, I'll bring it up. Ednan, forgive me, bro, but like to hear Top Flight Pods, them entertaining the idea of like, the question was, would you rather have 10 Copa Tejas trophies or like 1 U.S. Open Cup? Like, bro, this is not even a question. It's the U.S. Open Cup.
That's insane.
It's a Copa Tejas, take me to the Triple C.
Exactly. Yeah. Bro, like, why are we? The kid to stop and think about it. Like, what are we thinking about, bro? Like that. Again, I say imaginary because at the end of the day, it just doesn't count for what the fans really, really want, which is silverware. So
I think in defense of Austin, I kind of feel that, and Henry, maybe you can back me up. I feel like in terms of like, they were a new team 3 years ago. They want that feeling of establishment in their home state. And I know that Sporting Kansas don't play in Missouri, but we still have that kind of rivalry that we want to win every single game against them. So I feel for Austin FC fans wanting to have a rivalry with all of their Texas neighbors.
It's true. It just feels like a third leg type of situation that we don't really need. You know what I mean? Yeah, they're there. That's probably the best way to put them. Outside of 2022, one of the most mid teams. I just, and they again, they're probably still cheering on for how far they went that season. I think they drastically overperformed. Again, I have a lot of friends down in Austin, a lot of friends who are fans, avid fans of that club. I always tip the hat to it. I love how much passion they show. I wish at times Dallas would show that much passion. It's just hard for me to get super invested until maybe we both, grown this rivalry to a point where we can take it very, very seriously. But we're not there yet.
Austin FC has a passion, and I respect the passion. But there's also an arrogance that they have that pisses me off. Because I'm like, where the fuck is this coming from?
22.
I mean, I get it. I'm a Houston Dynamo fan. The last time they won back-to-back MLS Cups was like, back in 06 and 05. And I get all that.
Ryan Ching.
But at least I still, like, if anything, the Houston Dynamo are the only team that has trophies besides, and then also have 2 U.S. Open Cups. So, I mean, like, I don't know where the arrogance comes from Austin FC. And also, I've been down bad for a long time. So
you're telling me, bro, we have yet to win. We're an MLS 1.0 club. We have yet to win it. Like I'm right there with you, right? But it's like, I also, at the same time, I feel like it disrespects the rivalry we have with Houston. That's all I'm going to say.
They're the annoying, like, both the older siblings are like,
they want to be part of it. They want to play with us. You know what I mean?
Your parents had an accident, and now you have this third brother. So now you're just like acknowledge me, and I'm like, fuck you, bro. Just
hell yeah,
ask for this.
That's a great analogy. Austin FC, make sure this is not a snooze fest. Go out there, have Driussi do what he did against Dallas. Turn up, and even if
Austin
you lose,
should win this game. I'm just gonna say that
they should. But even if they draw for whatever reason, right? Because it's been drawn the last 4 times in a row. Just give me goals. Don't give me a 0-0, man. Like, give me goals. 2-2, something crazy. I'm totally down for that all day.
As much as we shit on Jackson Yule, he is kind of important to San Jose.
Yeah, very important. I mean, Espinosa FC at the moment,
and that's a big loss for them.
Yeah, playmaker in the middle.
Unless somehow Jeremy Obobisi all of a sudden starts scoring goals, which I don't see it happening. So
yeah, that surprised me.
We'll see, man. We'll see. But we do have Austin taking that one collectively. All right, let's move on to Hector's boys. Heading up to Chicago, the Windy City. We'll see how it all nets out. Chicago lost epically, right? We talked about it before, to Atlanta 3-0 on the road. Houston coming off that comeback 2-1 win against San Jose. Chicago's missing a few players. Houston's missing Ache, and Quinones is going to be out till. I heard he might come back sooner, by the way, Hector. Quinones.
I mean, when you think of those kind of injuries, it's usually like a 3-month recovery.
Yeah, I think it might be like early May is what I heard.
So I mean, especially as long the way how the length of MLS is, and that break for Leagues Cup, that's going to help a lot for Quinones. So he might be a very big addition come that second half of the season.
Yeah.
Because I love Ibrahim Aliou. I think he's amazing. He's fast, but he's definitely playing out of position. He's a striker. And I like him more as a striker. He's just not comfortable on the wing. When you have Nelson Quinones there, this team's going to look completely different. And even despite these injuries, these guys are playing. and like playing solid defensively once again. Arthur, I'm gonna praise that man as much as I can, humanly possible. He's my Yakamakis. Maybe not that far. I'm not going that far.
As far as Cheyenne would go. Okay,
you got the shrine in the corner. Yeah.
But I mean, Arthur solid has kind of become that staple leader on the midfield. Coco Carrasquilla still solid. Just does what he needs to do.
I wish he would finish a little bit more, but yeah, still very good.
Yeah, I mean, I've said it before. I need to see him step up a little bit more, take that next mantle. Like if anybody should have been stepping up with Achegon, it should be him.
Yeah.
But he hasn't really had that moment yet for me. But then just goals coming out of nowhere, like a goal from Franco, a goal from Sebas Ferreira, which, bro, I'm gonna keep joking about the KFC shit. That's just gonna be me. But I mean, dude, I'm about to send you a bucket next game. If you score another goal,
yeah.
I'm about to send you a fucking bucket, bro. Let's do this.
Nah, you'll see him there. When you go pick it up, you'll see him there. He's already there, bro.
He's already there.
Already there. He beat you. Last meeting between these two teams, remember, was that smacking Houston gave Chicago in the U.S. Open Cup. Now, granted, I don't know what the rosters looked like back then. I don't know. This was summer. So, with that said, it was 4-1. Did you guys, even on the road, take this Chicago team? I mean, they're coming off of their own kind of weird result against Atlanta. I mean, this could be it.
Well, for a fact that Soldier Field is going to be empty. There's not going to be a soul in that building.
Yeah,
so that is to the benefit of Houston for sure.
Hey, we're used to that. We're used to empty stadiums, so we're good.
Minus last season, bro. Give us a little bit of credit. Shell Energy, they turned up a little bit, especially towards playoffs last year.
It'll get packed once Ache is back.
Hell yeah, 100%. How do you guys stop Kuipers though?
Mikhail. Never heard of that guy.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
Also props to Shevchenko. Also, that's another guy that I think steps up tremendously for the team.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that the one thing that Dynamo has done really well, despite the loss of firepower that they have right now, is turning games just really ugly. I mean, if there's one thing that Dynamo can do, is they can win ugly games.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of their best suits, is turning a game ugly. And I think the way they're playing defensively and just buying their time until they find that crazy counterattack that comes out of nowhere. Maybe we just forget about a certain guy that's on the floor, but we keep playing things like that. But I think for the Dynamo, obviously turn the game dirty and just when you have your opportunity, pounce on it. I think it'll be, if it's a win, it'll be a 1-0 victory, but I think it's actually going to be a draw.
Yeah, I can see draw too, because I think it's just going to be, Houston has a stout defense, and they're actually impressed me more than I thought they were going to this season. But I think the combination of, because what Chicago did last week too, but it didn't matter because it was an L the week before as well. They started benching Shaqiri, which was interesting, right? Because in all honesty, like Shaqiri's, man, he is the biggest waste of money. I think he was like the second highest paid DP in the league before the rest of Messi's friends came over. So, man, what a giant waste of money. But Guti has been their best playmaker. The combination of him and Kuiper is going to be really interesting against that defense. Yeah, I think draw is going to be right. I think Chicago, they could even lose this game. I think it's just going to be tough with, again, just an MLS away match. It's the usual story. Henry, how you feel about this one?
I mean, I think, as stupid as it is to say, I think the weather's going to play a factor in it. Like the Midwest has gotten crazy winds over the last couple of days, and Kellen Acosta can score goals from 70 yards out if there's a wind. So I think that might be part of it. Chicago just doesn't have a lot of overall, they don't have a lot of firepower. So if Houston can play the dark arts and they can come away with a draw or a 1-0 smash and grab, I don't mind that. Whenever I look at Chicago, it doesn't really matter who they're up against. I just always find myself favoring the other team. I just don't think Chicago's all that great of a team. So anyone can beat them, anyone can tie to them. I just don't see Chicago winning a lot of games.
Yeah, fair enough. Riley, how you feel about this one, man?
Yeah, I'm feeling a draw. I'm feeling something high scoring, like a draw, 2-2 maybe. It seems like Chicago are either scoring a lot of goals or having a lot of goals scored on them. So I'm feeling, if Houston can come up big and put some away, I'm feeling 2-2.
Hell yeah.
Something in my blood.
I like that. Whatever your blood's feeling, bro, I'm right there with it. I think 1-1 or 2-2 would be awesome, bro. This would be a hell of a game, I think. And if Houston gets 2 goals on the road, there's a lot to build for when Ache gets back, when they get Quinones back. I think this is going to be, I think this has draw written all over it. I'm hoping that they're goals. If they're not, I don't know if this is going to be snooze fest potential. I wouldn't throw it up there quite yet, but if there aren't that many goals, who knows? It might be right up there. We'll see. But I feel like this might be draw all the way around. All right, boys, let's move on to our final 5 matchups. First up, Minnesota hosting Real Salt Lake. This one, to me, has game of the week potential written all over it. There's a massive, massive shootout potential here. Minnesota coming off of that loss to Philly, which was kind of weird, even though it was at the Union, right? 2-0 on the road. Totally fine. Salt Lake coming off of that 3-1 win at home against St. Louis. Both teams dealing with a few injuries, but the one of note, Fidel Barajas, this new kid, breath of fresh air, creating opportunities instantly, right? Having an instant impact on the attacking front with Salt Lake. Now is going to be out until May. That one will sting. Minnesota is unbeaten in their last 4 home games, interestingly enough. Both of these 2023 matches ended in draws. So I don't know if that's telling of what this game will look like. I think both teams still look pretty different from what they were doing last season. Arango is hitting his form now, boys. He is now the second best player in the league at creating big chances. He had a massive day against St. Louis. Does he keep going? Can he go to Minnesota? And Hector, I know you've done the weather on the show before, bro. By all means, pull it up. It's up to you. I don't know what the Midwest is going to look like this Saturday, but can Arango keep it going? He did in a snowstorm against LAFC. Maybe there's some of that vibe here with this one. I don't know. How do you guys see this one?
I'm just gonna say this, man. Also, if Arango could continue establishing his hook,
3 for 3 on goals and 1 for 1 on connected punches. Here we
Hell
go.
yeah,
100%.
bro.
If only Berkey could just stand 2 inches to the right, we would have had a much better shot of it.
Yes. Yes.
Arango's, man, he's by the way, that picture you guys posted, Riley, right after the game the next day, the Arango license plate, that shit was gold, bro.
It was crazy. I was just driving home from Easter, and it's like, is his family in town? Like, what is going on?
It might as well have been a fuck you. Yeah, like that's hilarious.
Big fat middle finger. Yeah, that was ridiculous.
Yeah, ridiculous, bro. But you Henry came off this. You're coming off this result, right, against RSL. You saw them, kind of firsthand, and on the road. Do you think we'll see a different version of Arango and Salt Lake?
No, I think they're a good team. I think obviously we played against them last game and they proved that they were a good team, but we had a tie against them. What was it? First game of the season for us. Yeah. And it was a 1-1 tie and they were great. They were a good team. I think something that makes them a little bit unique from some of these other teams is they attack very much with a front 3. Not overly concerned with getting all 3 of their attackers behind the ball. They are ready for a counterattack and they link up incredibly well. And a lot of these MLS teams play with a 1 striker system. So their defenders are only ever used to, the point striker. Salt Lake comes with 3 guys every single time. They have intricate passes to play. And they have Diego Luna, who, came off the bench against us and had a man of the match performance outside of Chicho, obviously, but like he had a man of the match performance in the 15 minutes that he featured against us. I think Salt Lake is also a wagon. I think that they're a fantastic team, but Minnesota is at home. You don't really bet against them at home. This also is the match of the week for me. I just think both of these teams have a lot of firepower. Regardless of who gets the winner for it's going to be a high scoring tie. I just see this being a very, very, very good game to watch.
Yeah, there's a 4-way tie for second in the West, and they're right up there. I mean, Minnesota's it's just such a different version of them this season. They're so unpredictable in comparison to the expectation going into 2024, right? So, Riley, I mean, again, your team, in terms of coming off of that game against Salt Lake, I mean, anything different, anything that you feel like is going to maybe surprise us in this match?
I don't know. I mean, Diego Luna starting, I think would be big for Salt Lake. Obviously, we didn't see him. He came off the bench against us. I think if he starts, he's going to give Minnesota a hard time. And I think, the defensive mids for Raw Salt Lake are also very talented. I think they can really play out wide and play to their team's strengths, get balls in behind to Luna or Arango, the likes. But yeah, Minnesota are very good this season. I have to agree on game of the week on this one.
Yeah, it's going to be game of the week for sure. I don't know, man. This could be a shootout. I mean, how do we feel? Like Hector, give me a result. What are you thinking on this one?
Man, this might be a shootout. And the 2 players that I kind of want to see, and I mean, obviously, Jose, you and me have both felt like we fumbled the bag on Diego Luna, being that he playing at El Paso and he ends up at Real Salt Lake. Yeah, we really fucked up on that one.
No Texas team went to go look at this kid, bro. It didn't make any sense. Anyway.
So, I mean, he's definitely a big X factor along with Arango. And then on the other side, since coming back to the MLS, Caden Clark, man, I feel like he's finding himself back. The guy that we were hoping to see when he did make his move to RB Leipzig. I still think he has a good shot to go back to Europe at some point. But I do think that he's been definitely finding his groove back here in his hometown in Minnesota. I'm really excited to see that matchup specifically because those 2 kids are very electric, and I still call them kids because I'm old. But yeah, I see a shootout coming. I think this is going to be a draw. It's going to be a 2-2 draw.
Ooh, I have 3-2 Minnesota. Ooh, yeah.
I was thinking like 2-1 Salt Lake in this one. Truthfully,
ooh, an upset. I think it's an upset. In my opinion, just because I think it's going to be hard to go to Minnesota and play.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I personally, I don't know if this is a hot take. I feel like Timo Pukki, pretty mid signing that is very overhyped. I don't know what you guys.
Xiaoyan, where's Xiaoyan?
The Pukki party train is that man in a nutshell. But yeah,
the
bro,
Pukki party.
In that exact type of voice. It sounds exactly like Xiaoyan. Yeah, bro, I agree with you. I think he's interesting. He actually was in good form to close out 2023.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, he's old. He's like, what, 33, 34? I mean,
yeah.
My expectations are like mid with him. So you think it's going to be Salt Lake, Henry?
2-2.
Damn. collectively it's a draw then if majority rules. Let's move on to Nashville hosting Philadelphia. Nashville drew 2-2 at home to Columbus. Philadelphia beating Minnesota at home, giving them their first L. Both sides missing players due to injury. Nashville have not kept a clean sheet in 7 matches in a row now. Very interesting. Philadelphia, meanwhile, are ranked 3rd in the goals scored per match. So if Philly can find a way to mimic, their home form on the road, because they've been atrocious on the road so far this season, that includes that 6-0 smacking to Pachuca in the CONCACAF Champions Cup, they can really do something here. Nashville have, I think, even at home, right? They just leak goals consistently. Home and away, it doesn't really matter. It's a weird version of this team because in 2023, they were, I think, the best team defensively, collectively across all of MLS. I'm pretty sure. So we double check me on that. At least in the East, 100%, they were the number 1 team defensively. So with that said, Philly haven't lost to Nashville in the last 5 meetings. I feel really inclined to go with the Union. They're finally getting some form. They won back-to-back games. I feel they're going to go 3 in a row right here.
I think so too. I think no Walker Zimmerman, obviously, duh. That's going to be
Shaq
a huge
Moore
hole.
too.
Yeah, it's going to be 2 huge holes in the defensive line. So obviously they're going to be leaky. I think Philadelphia scores 1 early, and then they're just ahead the rest of the game. They could put in 2. Nashville could score 1 back, but I think they're going to score early in the first half, and Nashville's going to be chasing the game the entire time, and it's just going to create holes. So I want to go Philadelphia here as well. I'm going 2-0. I'm just going to give you my score prediction right off the rip. I'm not even going to wait.
Now, stay with your chest, bro. 100%. Riley, how you feeling?
Man, I don't know. I have been very surprised with Philadelphia Union. I know that, from what I've seen on the internet, as I've been gaining more MLS knowledge, it seems like the Union are supposed to be a very good team, all of the time. They're highly well respected. I see them in the CONCACAF club rankings pretty high up there,
which is crazy. I mean, just not that they shouldn't be in there, but their ranking in those rankings is kind of wild. Anyway,
yeah, I don't know that they've won that many trophies or anything like that. I'm pretty sure they're relatively new, right? Or am I off par on that one?
I mean, historically, they're good, good in the sense that they're like the Dallas Cowboys of MLS, right? They do
America's team.
Yeah, they do good in the regular season, right? They get the job done. They get over the line. They tend to the way they're not the Cowboys. They don't spend. Their effort doesn't really help them at all. They produce a lot of talent internally.
Yeah, young talent definitely.
Yeah,
as we've seen,
and they mold it, and they get supporters shield. They have, I think, 2 of those, or maybe just 1. But either way, right? Curtin's been there 10 plus years now, and doesn't have any MLS Cups to show for it, right? He's had, in fact, every season since 21 now, he has regressed in terms of where he's finished in the postseason with his team. So it's one of those things where I didn't know how to feel about Philly 2 weeks ago.
Bale.
Yeah.
I mean, look, MLS Cup, I get it, bro, but I mean, it feels it's got strong bottlers vibes. It just does. I feel like for whatever reason that team's not ready to win anything major.
It's coming from an Arsenal fan,
Facts, bro. Facts. As someone who lived through the Banter Club days himself, as an Arsenal fan, trust, bro, this reeks of that. It's just one of those things where I don't know how much longer this fan base is willing to put up with it. But with that said, in this game, they're good enough to win it. I think they are. And it is more of what we should expect from Philly Union, at least in the regular season, in my opinion.
Yeah, taking on Nashville, down a lot of defenders in Nashville. They tied 2-2 with Columbus last week. I don't know. I really have no idea on this one. I'm going to defer to you guys.
Yeah, it's tough, bro. This is it's tough to predict. I feel like the stat that sticks out is that Philly haven't lost this team in the last 5 meetings. 3 wins, 2 draws. It might be a draw. Who knows? They might find, Nashville might show up. I feel like Philly will match them at a minimum. I just don't see Nashville winning. For whatever reason, even at home. They could prove me wrong. MLS has proven me wrong so many damn times at this point. It is what it is, but I don't know. It's hard for me to back them.
I'm definitely leaning on a draw.
Yeah.
I am not. There's nothing about these 2 teams that excites me in any shape or form.
Well, how about this? So is this Snooze Fest potential?
I feel like it can be. I feel like there's too much.
I think there's other games that would definitely jump over them in Snooze Fest, but this potentially could be a Snooze Fest.
Riley,
I don't think it will be. I think that there's just too much too much firepower on both teams for it to be a snooze fest, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think I'm probably lining up with you.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. It's just I don't know why I'm so negative about it. I feel like I just go the exact opposite way. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Either way,
I think you just don't like Jim Curtin.
Not as much as John. John hates Jim Curtin, but I will say that it's just he's given me nothing to believe it. He just hasn't. I don't really, like I said, has regressed every season for the last few in a row now. This is a very a seasoned team, right? They're aging. They're only getting older. They're not adding any new blood that's going to give them an edge, especially coming off the bench. It's just hard to believe in that long term. But we're still early in the season. We're still 8 weeks in, right? And they're coming off of back-to-back wins. The historical record favors them. I'm going to back Philly. So Are we all in favor on Philly, or are we just like draw all the way through?
Philly.
I'll
for
take
me.
Philly.
Hell yeah. All right, moving on to a game that three of us should care heavily about. St. Louis hosting FC Dallas at City Park. I'm going to try and watch this one through my hands probably. We'll see how it all goes down. St. Louis losing to RSL on the road 3-1. Dallas losing on the road to Austin 2-1. St. Louis is missing still, right? A couple key players. Dallas is missing everybody. We're still going to be missing Yaramendi, Jesus Ferreira, Paxton Pamacol, Velasco, Giovanni Jesus, you name it. Like there's a ton of starters that just won't be there. St. Louis, right, unbeaten last 4 home games. City Park is, can we say a fortress? I mean, I think that, you guys definitely have one of the best home crowds in all of MLS, but does it feel like a fortress more this season than last season?
I think that's a difficult question, just because with the way that we left last season, I feel like it's difficult to look at that and say, well, it kind of was a fortress, but then when we made it to the playoffs, something broke down. And then this season, we start the season with a draw against Salt Lake. I don't know. It's definitely a hard place to come play with the atmosphere that we have there. But at the same time, it's still not quite there, unless you have something else, Henry, that you think about it.
No, I don't disagree with you at all. And for me, the story of St. Louis, like, yes, obviously last year we overperformed all expectations, but you take us back to after the Leagues Cup last year. We've been horrendous for months, the entire second half of the season or last quarter of the season, if you will, plus the beginning of this season. Yes, like we suffered only our first loss, but we haven't really figured much of anything out. And it feels like we just took a really big step backwards after the Leagues Cup last year, and we haven't really found it since then. So we're a little bit more scrappy this year than last year, in my opinion. But I would not say that City Park is a fortress. I will agree with you, though, that it is a really tough place to play for the opposing teams, because the crowd definitely, I mean, it's a sellout every single game, and the crowd makes their presence known. The refs are very familiar with all of us, but I wouldn't necessarily say it's a fortress. I don't think that anyone's really scared to go there like they were last year.
Sure, absolutely. No, I agree. And I will say this, like the one thing that feels off about both these teams in comparison to last year was that last year both teams were good defensively. Like we didn't leak goals left and right. Dallas and St. Louis, both of them were, I think, top 4 defensively in the West. And you look at this season, and it's for Dallas, it's the exact opposite. For St. Louis, it just feels like it's a very slow start defensively, and you're leaking more goals in ways that you guys didn't in 2023. Whether that was due to Berkey's insane form coming into the league, or just due to how you guys were set up and, like you said before, overperforming. But sophomore slumps are a thing. I don't want to say it's a thing already for St. Louis this season, but its season's just started. But it's definitely a slight step backwards. I still think Dallas is down so bad with personnel that, look, man, until we get these guys back, I'm willing to go on a branch here and say that we probably either lose or draw every game until they get back. Like I'll be honest, man. Like it's so hard. And this is probably more about Dallas's coaching than anything else, right? Like if you're that reliant upon individual talent, like what are you doing as a manager? But I don't know. It's just we haven't proven any kind of ability to stay in games, even when we go up, like even when we score first or we get the lead in any way, shape, or form, we somehow seem to throw it away. We have 1 win this season. So I don't know. I'm not hopeful. This is probably the first time I'm doing this on this show. I'm going to back St. Louis. I think. Hey now. I think St. Louis wins this game. I think
that one.
Yeah, I got an extra jersey if you want it. Just send me your address, bro. I got
no shot in hell. No shot in hell. I will never put another MLS jersey. But
only if it's a Messi Inter Miami jersey.
Yeah, come on now. Okay. Yeah, I was at that game last year. I saw you.
You can't say that. Oh, I would never wear another MLS.
Yeah, that's fair. I wouldn't wear another player jersey. It's the only player jersey that I have is Messi, and I have one from every club that he's played for. So I hate PSG to death, and I have a PSG kit. Like,
yeah, I get that.
But with that said, like, it's just. Like, I don't know. It's hard for me. I'm at the point now where I'm at Nico out. Like, I feel like an Austin FC fan saying Wolf out. Like, we've seen his height. We've seen his ceiling. If he can't do it even with backups, even keep us in games, let's find a manager who will. Dallas is not pressing well. They're not moving the ball well. Defensively, they're letting goals in. Like, you can't set up in a low block because you don't have the talent and leak in goals from crosses. That is not a thing. Those two things should not mix ever. And if they do, you're doing it horribly wrong. So it's hard for me to have a lot of faith until our starters get back. And for some of them, it's not till summer. We get a couple back, as soon as maybe mid-April. So for now, I'm going off what I see. This is the first time I've done it on the show. I always back Dallas, but if we get a draw, I'll be fucking ecstatic. I will be so happy.
Hang it in the rafters, baby. Hang it in the rafters.
Yeah, bro. I'll trust me, bro. You guys will hear about it from me.
Open bus tour.
1,000%, bro. Like, man, you guys botched the shit out of that.
Yeah, in my opinion, anything other than 3-0 at home, I think is a disappointment, and I think confirms 100%. Sophomore slump. I think, during the offseason, we lose guys like Gioacchini, we lose guys like Stroud. Some people in St. Louis will say, oh, Jared Stroud wasn't really that. he was, we didn't really like watching him play, but I mean, that's 15 goals that St. Louis lost. A lot of them from open play as well. And what we've seen from St. Louis so far this season is we score a lot from set pieces, which it's really not characteristic for us.
Why'd you guys trade him?
Stroud.
Yeah,
we wanted Durkin mostly as a backup for, not really like a direct backup for Leuven, but to strengthen our midfield. Just because when Leuven's out, it really felt like there was nothing we could ever do. And with Durkin being here, Henry, you could probably back me up that it feels a lot better. It's definitely, he's never going to be the caliber that Edu Leuven is, but it feels a lot more possible with Durkin playing in the midfield.
He connects play a lot better than Blom does, but I think Stroud was one of the guys that had value.
He gave you width in a really valuable way.
Yeah, width for, I mean, Jesus, man. It's so funny. Also, like your whole little like intro about Dallas of like describing like not a style of play, it's on the coach, it's all this stuff. It's like you could have literally just taken that whole thing and put a St. Louis City like thing over the top of it, and it would have described the team perfectly. But like, yeah, I think my really big criticism is that like throughout the season last year going into this season, we've played more and more and more narrow, when we have guys that can play wide. And whenever we do, Vasilev's goal against RSL was the perfect example of that. He picks up the ball wide, drives in, and scores a far post goal. Like, we have the ability to do it, but like Parnell is just obsessed with this narrow formation. And so to answer your question, I think that DC United knew what they had in Durkin, and they needed some firepower behind it. I mean, we would have given away Bartlett for pennies. Bartlett did not mesh with the team. And so we were looking to offload him for sure. But yeah, like going into this game, like we desperately need that 3-0 so badly, like you said, but the fan base needs it, to be honest with you. Like for us to feel confident in this St. Louis team, we just need something to rally behind, because like it is kind of like a grim space to be in right now, the St. Louis City like Twitter spaces. Just because I feel like everyone's seeing the same thing. It's like a lack of identity. There's no one there to put their foot on the ball and just possess. And you brought up the defense earlier of us like looking so leaky. Individually, I think so much more highly about our defense this year. Like every position is so much better than it was last year. And we're giving up so many more goals. And we're giving up like stupid goals as well. Yeah. It's really weird. We upgraded like both wing backs, which we needed to do so desperately, and we're playing worse. It like makes no sense. So yeah, Leuven being out is the catalyst of this whole thing. And Durkin and Blom are two really defensive guys. We don't have anyone going forward. I pray to God, the good Lord above, that we see Indiana Vasilev in the number 10 role. I put $0 down on that happening, but that's what I need to see more than I need my next breath. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Hector, anything different before we move
on? No, I mean, obviously, FC Dallas is just so down bad right now. And
it's bad, bro.
A lot of missing players. I mean, if St. Louis doesn't get a 3-0, no offense to you, but if St. Louis doesn't get a 3-0, that with that roster, that FC, it's crazy how we I don't think we really shed on Hernan when he was talking about Austin, because he brought up how they couldn't even fill in a 11v11 for training.
Yeah.
With their whole roster limitations, I feel like you're kind of in that situation right now.
We're almost there. We're pulling guys from North Texas SC, our MLS Next Pro team, to try and like fill gaps. I mean, Pereira was a crazy scratch like out of nowhere, and now he's out for like almost a month. And then Pamacal's done for the season. Dude, Mendy, we're relying upon an aging Mendy to be our controlling playmaker in the middle of the field. The guy's 34 years old. He's already gotten hurt. Like, what's gonna happen next, right? Like, I don't know, man. Like, I'm literally just counting up players that falling out, and these guys that are backing them up just aren't of the caliber. Like, they just aren't. They really aren't. And so, yeah, if St. Louis, I'm not gonna go as far as saying 3-0. Like, if you guys go in there just get a clinical 2-0. Like, that's something to build on. Like, I think as a St. Louis City fan, that's something to build on, whether you guys see it that way or not. But trust, if Dallas nets out even a point, man, I'm gonna be. I don't know. I might throw a party. We'll see. I want to see us to get.
You're gonna be under our replies for sure. I know.
Yeah, I'm gonna be going mute on social media for 3 weeks.
1,000%, bro.
The verbal meme of the guy that's like popping champagne.
Oh yeah. He's at the bottom of the damn standings. Yeah, 100%, bro. 100%. I think it's like it's just one of those things where it's like. I don't know. I honestly, this is the worst start we've had since 2003. Let that shit sink in. We have not had a start as a club this bad. Last week, this is the worst start since 2010, which that year we made the MLS Cup final.
Wow.
This shit ain't happening. It's not going down that path. I'll tell you that right now. And it sucks, but this is a year where we made a record signing to bring in Petar Musa. This guy has scrubs to play around him. Can you imagine coming from Benfica over to MLS and you're playing with backups to kick off a new season?
Yeah,
I'd be infuriated, man.
I felt like there was a good time, that a good period where like. Every season there was always some academy player that would come out for FC Dallas, and I haven't seen that for quite some time now.
Yeah. We ship them all out. We sell them all. Now it's a business. Now it's like, we they get a little bit of potential and we sell them.
They don't even see the first team before they even go
Right.
get shipped out, man. I
Right.
mean, and I mean, there's that goalkeeper that I keep mentioning. To Jose
the guy from
about.
Duke Eyestone.
Yeah, like I mean, that dude's a stud. I mean, obviously, I got to work with the academies in St. Louis. You guys have a solid academy, by the way. I was like,
beat Flamengo, beat Manchester United U15s. Like,
We're out here.
bro, man,
out
that
here.
Two
U17
different
team.
two
I needed
Dallas
some,
teams just won Dallas Cup.
some birth certificates for some of those guys because I was like, bro, that's a grown man over there.
No, I vetted all of them. I promise they're all good.
Hey,
No
man,
bias.
it's kind of crazy. You hanging out with kids? What's up?
I used to be an equipment manager for the Dynamo's Academy. So.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah. If we go in there and get absolutely destroyed by St. Louis 3-4-0, did Nico out? That hashtag needs to be everywhere. It needs to be trending. Like that's it. I think it's five losses in a row. Like there needs to be serious conversations about this man continue to keep his job. We'll see what happens. All right, but collectively, I think we're all in St. Louis.
Had to be Nico to be the first manager to get fired. I thought it was gonna be Wolf.
Yeah,
100%.
for real. I mean, I think at this point, it's gotten to that, right? Dallas fans know this is not our team. This is year in and year out. We're consistently making playoffs, and now it's like what the hell is this? We'll find out. Last two matchups, boys: Seattle versus Montreal. I'm just gonna say this without reading out any of the context. Seattle Sounders have. I'll give you one piece of context. They have one goal from open play so far in 2024.
What happened to them?
I don't know,
no
bro.
idea.
Every pundit and their mom was backing Seattle to go back to the Western Conference Final. I don't even know how.
Except for Shaoyan.
Well, except for Shaoyan, bro. But every MLS pundit, dude, Ben Wright, all those guys, they were like, oh, Seattle this, Seattle that. Like, dude, you must not watch because they've had attacking problems since last season. Their defense saved them in a lot of games. And now they're kind of like Dallas, and they're starting off the season with a lot of injuries. And, dude,
they're just
all PK goals. All of them.
They're just old.
Yeah.
I think that's the other thing about Seattle is it's an old team. They have kind of been riding along with the same core for such a long time. I mean, besides just not having Ladero anymore, but like they're just old. I think that's the only thing. And then
I don't know.
You show everybody off this brand new shiny Pedro de la Vega, and he's not playing, but
he's already injured.
He's already injured. I still can't get over the fact that they showed like a silhouette of Pedro de la Vega as like a little teaser, and everybody's like, "We got Cavani, we got."
Bro,
Cavani.
that was so stupid. That was so dumb. I don't know, man. They're missing De La Vega, Leo Chu, Joao Paulo, and there's a few others that they're still missing. They got Stephen Fry back last week, right? And there's a couple of those they got back, Yamar and others. But dude,
Joao Paulo is going to be a big loss.
Yeah, until he gets back, it's like hard for anybody to control that midfield. And I mean, bro, it's hard to watch the Seattle team play. I think Montreal might go into Lumen Field and get that result. I'm back in Montreal on this one.
I'll take Carlos Martinez 2-piece.
Ooh, maybe.
Hey, yo.
Hey, and no, everybody was doubting Montreal heading into this season, man. I feel like myself included. I'll put myself on that train. But I don't know, man. Their away record super impressive too. I know they come off back-to-back L's, but like outside of that, like Montreal has looked damn good, at least compared to what we thought they were going to do this season.
Anybody once again, it's hard to win on the road in the MLS.
But they're doing it.
Yeah,
but they're doing it. You know, like they're netting out these results. So like against this version of Seattle, I mean, they should go in there and win this, right?
They should. Yeah, I'm back in Montreal as well.
Yeah. Hector, Montreal?
Seattle's just so down bad, man. They can't fight and win. They can't fight. There's no
fight and win. They can't fight and win. They sit comfortably.
That was their long-lasting game strategy was just fight and win. And there's no fight. There's no fight.
No fight. Zero fight.
Zero fight equals no win.
This is crazy. Bottom of the West, 2 points and a -3 goal differential. I think as much as Dallas is down bad, my team is in shambles. It could be worse. It still could be worse.
Always.
That's what's crazy about this. It still could be worse. Riley, you back in Seattle or Montreal?
Man, I don't want to go against the grain. It sounds like everybody's back in Montreal. I'm going to stick with my Montreal prediction here. You know, Seattle, they can't do it, man.
No. This team is a weird spot, man. They need to get rid of Rui Diaz, even though he's now the official all-time goal scorer for that club. Move him on. Get a striker.
Legend
Rui Diaz. Get him off the pitch. Find someone who can stay on the field for more than 2 games in a row and score goals. Like they just need somebody who can find the back of the net at this point because Jordan Morris can't do it. Rui Diaz is too injury prone. They just need someone.
Maybe it is Cavani.
Maybe it is Cavani. Bringing it from Boca.
He fits the H profile, so.
Oh, he does fit the H profile. 100%.
I mean, I don't think Boca Jr. is gonna really lose much sleep if he goes.
Nah, I mean he's a slightly better runner for him, but yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with that. All right, boys, Montreal for that one. And the final game, the Sunday matchup. I'm curious to see how the St. Louis fans feel about this one. Kansas City hosting the Portland Timbers. Kansas City defeated Toronto 3-1 on the road. Portland losing to Vancouver 3-2 on the road. SKC's missing Russell, Pulido, Fontas, Denby, Shelton. That's a good list right there.
Yeah.
Portland only missing really Lordia and Bravo. I mean, they have Mabiala, who's also going to be out, but that is what it is. These two teams have not drawn any of their last 4 games. Crazy part about that stat, though, at least 5 goals have been scored in 3 of the last 4 matchups.
Wow.
This has strong
The over.
Yeah, this might be one of those ones you take the over on. I don't know, man. Like, that's a crazy stat. Portland haven't kept the clean sheet in the last 12 games. So, like I said before, we know this already. They're going to leak goals. It's just how many. But I think they could keep up. You know, Cabecita, that new signing, right? Keep up with Sporting Kansas City, especially considering some of the goal scoring pieces they're going to be missing. Pulido and Russell being those 2 big ones. How is this game going to go? Is this game of the week potential?
I think Portland have been extremely unlucky this season. I feel like they're like a diamond in the rough with a lot of their results. Like the fact that Eric Williamson's back for Portland and he gets to like pair in the midfield with Evander. I feel like the chances have been there for Portland and they've been rather unlucky to not have finished a lot of them. No Pulido, no Johnny Russell. Like Portland could definitely go to Children's Mercy Park over there in OPK and get the job done.
Yeah, I think so too. It'll be really interesting, man. I mean, personally, I had a draw, but like a high scoring draw, like a 2-2 or a 3-3 or something. And I could really see 3-3 because Portland, as good as they are going forward, like you said, it's just been super unlucky. Then if you go look at their XG and their chance creation, like it's insane. Some of these numbers are wild. They still leak goals like crazy. Yeah. Like they get scored on, so easily.
But who's doing the scoring? If you're
exactly, that's the thing. That's the thing.
But you gotta believe that they're getting scored on so often. Do they? If there's a game Pulido and Russell are gonna miss, is this the one that you're okay with them missing?
I'll never be on a podcast talking any bit positively about Kansas City. So I think that Portland just takes it to them. And yeah, I mean, to be fair though, like you're missing all of your attacking prowess in Kansas City. So like, if anything, and you're looking at a draw, your game plan as Kansas City is to hold Portland from scoring. Like you just may not get that chance. So you're probably sitting in the low block. You're probably banking on some sort of counterattack, and the chances are going to be few and far between. And unless you're clinical to the max, like if it's going to be a tie, I think it'll be low scoring. And if not, I think Portland kind of cruises.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely that potential. So I know we got 2 St. Louis City fans here. There's definitely going to be 2 KCLs that we're hanging here. Hector, where do you think, without the agenda, where do you think this one goes?
Are you saying I got an agenda? What are you talking about?
100% you have an agenda.
You are talking about a Houston Dynamo fan. So,
okay, all right, bro. Like, I mean, but you're not St. Louis City, right? You're not.
Yeah, but there's still beef between.
There is still beef. I agree with that. I remember. But I'm saying, like, you're
2 random teams that got put on the Eastern Conference for fuck's sake.
You can't hate on Argyle kids, bro. All right, like realistically, like where do you see this one going?
I think that's a lot of firepower that you're losing. And I mean,
Dale Shaloy though still there technically.
Well, there is that. But and I mean, I have not been a Neville guy. I'm still not going to be a Neville guy, and that's both Nevilles. I'm not rooting for both Nevilles in any way. But I mean, this is probably a good situation for Portland. I think for them to get right. And I think that this is their a prime opportunity. Go on the road, go into, I would say, another place that would probably be argued as a fortress in the MLS, and get 3 points out of it. And I think it's in Kansas. It's not Missouri.
Hey, it ain't a fortress when St. Louis shows up with 2K strong up in Children's Mercy Park. That's all I know.
Bingo.
True. That is true. They did show up. I mean, despite that ass whooping they took, they still showed up.
Yeah,
I was one of them.
Not the playoffs.
Strength in numbers.
But I would still say I like Portland's chances.
Yeah.
I feel like, especially with Cabecita now up top.
He looks good. Even at third, was he 30?
He looked very solid. Yeah, they should have brought him a lot sooner than the MLS.
Yeah, they really should have. We'll go with Portland. I'm fine with that. I mean, I'm not going to bow tooth and nail for either one of these teams. They're not direct rivals of mine. I think at the end of the day, like, Casey's losing a lot. Portland should be able to take advantage of that. If they don't, Neville's fraud watch, maybe.
Yes.
Yeah. I think so.
What if Pulido's back? I thought that in the last game he was like a last minute scratch from the lineup. If Pulido's there, what do you guys think?
Maybe
does that change your prediction at all?
They're still missing a lot of pieces.
Henry, I know it's not changing yours.
Nope. No, not necessarily, because like he still has to come back and it's not 2023, right? I think it was like a freak stretch of form that he went in when he came back in May and just like started scoring like crazy. It probably was the best form of his career, to be honest. Mm-hmm. I don't think he does it 2 seasons in a row. I think he'll still need time to get acclimated. He may be a threat. He may net them a goal. I just don't know if it's enough to make them a winner. So yeah, I guess I'm still
Portland by 1 million. Yep.
Portland by 1 million. I like that pick. Yeah. All right. I sound like Portland all the way through. We'll take it there. All right. Before we wrap up, guys, snooze fest of the week. Who is it? I think we're going to Austin, San Jose.
That's what mine is. That's what mine is.
It has to be.
It has to be Austin, San Jose.
If it's a 0-0 draw, dude.
I don't know, but New England Charlotte is also up there. But
it is. But you got to feel like
I would rather watch Austin and San Jose than watch New England and Charlotte. As electric as the T crate is.
I I think they're both terrible watches. I prefer not to watch either of them.
Yeah, I'm taking New England Revolution Charlotte. That's
Okay.
gonna be my sleeper. Yeah.
All right, me and Henry will go with Austin and San Jose. I
Yeah.
think it's gonna be a tough. Both those matches be tough to watch probably. All right, game of the week. There's a couple different contenders here. I'm gonna be bullish on mine. I think it's Minnesota Salt Lake. I really do. I think
agree.
it's gonna be. Who knows what version of the away Salt Lake team that we see? But if they show up, if Arango shows up, if Luna gets going and he starts the game, right? There could be a lot of back and forth in this one. Caden Clark firing all cylinders at home. Yeah, that's my game of the week. What do you guys think?
I'm gonna go with El Trafico. It's always get your popcorn ready kind of a matchup.
Yeah.
I think the battle for LA is always.
I just want to see the like if this was this version of LA Galaxy versus last season's LAFC, this game would take it over the top.
I'm taking El Trafico as well, just because I think it would be just so good for MLS as a whole to watch LAFC just take a brutal 4-0 beating. I know it's away from home for the Galaxy, but I think that would get the league right.
The shit talk on the timeline right now between these two fan bases is already going. It's already going. So
I've seen jersey burnings. I've seen all kinds of stuff
that's
already.
insane with the flare. So did you buy that as a Galaxy fan to just torch it?
It was like a retro. It was like a retro kit too. So it's
quote Easy E. I don't care. They spent money on it.
Yeah, they bought it. They do whatever they want with it.
Yeah,
100%. El Tráfico, I think collectively it probably should beat all of our game of the week just because it is the true derby match this week. But I feel like a good advertisement for MLS really would be to see a crazy Minnesota versus RSL game. I think it'd be just exactly what the league needs. I think last season, I don't know if we topped the attendance or the hype that we really saw with El Tráfico, but it's looking to be a good game. And I still think Galaxy are going to pull that one out. And I'm willing to bet it's going to be comfortably. I'm willing to bet that Galaxy just the volume of opportunities they get. Who knows, man? That golden boot that's maybe heading Jovelic's way. We'll see. Yeah, that's it. That's it for our video. We go for 90 minutes already. We'll stop it here. If you made it to this point of the video, thank you so much. We appreciate you. Like the video down below, subscribe to the channel, and let us know down in the comments below, what's your game of the week? What's your snooze fest? I'm really curious. I think El Tráfico should kind of be everybody's, but at the end of the day, if you see another game that just kind of piques your curiosity, let us know in the comments down below. And outside of that, I'm so grateful to Henry, to Riley. New blood, new fresh faces on the show is always a good thing. We're going to get them back on the show here pretty soon, especially when we get that next iteration, which I hopefully you guys are available. That whole SKC versus St. Louis game is going to be, got to do it. It's going to be a good one. I got to get Cabicho on for that one. That one's going to be absolute fire content, must-see content. I'll put it that way. But for everybody here at Wake Up MLS, my name is Jose. That's Hector. That's Riley. That's Henry. We'll catch you guys next time.